ASMR Retro. Today I'm introducing a new type of video, new series if you will, and I call it Vault of Retro. Basically what that is I'll be looking back at some artwork or comics or anything creative that I did many years ago when I was a kid or a teenager, and I'll be showing you some of that stuff and talking about it. Thought that'd be kind of fun, but remember, I was pretty young and I wasn't a good artist by any means, so don't judge the artwork and definitely don't judge the spelling because I was a really awful speller. Alright, so today I'm going to look at some comics I made. I was probably between the ages of 12 and 14. Like I said, the artwork is horrible, I'll admit that, and pretty much everything about it is horrible, but it's pretty funny to look back at. So these comics are actually Freddy Krueger, and I'm On Elm Street style comics, basically comics starring Freddy Krueger. So let's take a look at the very first issue, and let me start by saying this is not for children. I repeat, this is not for children. Okay, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this all that well, but I'll try my best. So you can see that it starts off looking like a Care Bears comic. C A R E B E A R S. You can see the rainbow. Remember, I said this is not for children, so we see one Care Bear here who says, "Do you want to share this comb?" And this other Care Bear says, "Sure." Now, I don't know the names of the Care Bears, but this one has a heart and this one has a balloon on its stomach. And then up in the corner here, you can see something's not quite right. You can see these claws or knives poking through the backdrop. And then this Care Bear says, "What's that?" As the claws go deeper through the backdrop. So then you see this giant claw rip through the entire page, and this Care Bear says, "Ah." And I hope you can see this, but there he is, Freddy Krueger, stepping through the ripped open page or backdrop or whatever, and he says, "This is my comic now," and it's issue number 1, folks. I actually have issue number 1 of Blood Massacre, and I just noticed I forgot the D, or maybe that's the D and I only spelled it with one O. Anything is possible. So he says, "This is my comic now," but I can see that originally I wrote something else in the speech bubble, but I erased it. Let me see if I can make it out. Yeah, it looks like he said, "I effing hate Care Bears." I told you it's not for kids. So this is kind of hard to see this panel up here. So the Care Bear's up in the corner and he says, "You don't have to get so mad." And I like how I drew this Freddy. You just see like the top of his head and he looks back Care Bear. And then he turns around and he has just a massive gun. Because, yeah, Freddy's known for using guns. And he shoots a massive bullet towards the Care Bear. For some reason, the camera has trouble focusing on things that are too white. There it goes. So, here you see the giant bullet go right through the Care Bear and make a huge hole in his stomach. And his eyes are just X'd out, so you know he's pretty much dead. Or so we think. So then here, Freddy kicks the Care Bear, Battletoad style. I was really influenced by Battletoads at this time, you could probably tell. So he has this huge boot, and kicking the Care Bear where the sun don't shine. I hope you guys can follow this storyline so far. I know it's pretty complex. It's for, you know, kind of like an intellectual type audience. So, in this top panel here, Freddy is saying, "Let that be a lesson, ... What the hell?" Oops, what was that noise? I don't know. And the Scare Bear is still alive. You can see he's like, and Freddy can't have that. So this, I kind of screwed this up. I don't know what I was thinking, but I didn't follow the right order for dialogue. But basically, Freddy's like, "Did I hurt you?" And the Care Bear says, "Yes." And then Freddy says, "Good." That's like worse than Japanese, not anime, but what do you call it, manga comic order. And you can see Freddy is hiding a bat behind his back. I don't know why Freddy would need a baseball bat. He has his claw here, he hasn't really used it yet. And then Freddy takes a swing at the back of the Care Bear's head with the bat, which I didn't even finish drawing Freddy. I just drew his torso basically, but that still looks kind of cool, kind of artistic in a way. So here we see the Care Bear's head is torn clean up. No, it's not clean at all, but it basically is decapitated, and you see chunks of meat and blood flying everywhere. And then his head proceeds to fly up to the camera, I guess. And now his head is closer. And it looks like I originally drew, what do you call that thing? That little flappy thing in the back of your throat. But then I erased it for some reason. Maybe I thought it didn't look good. As if anything in this comic actually looks good. Oh, and look at that. Now he's even closer. And he's closer. And he's closer. And that's it. The rest is just blank pages. So that was pretty much a colossal waste of paper. I guess I had intentions of finishing it. That's why there's blank pages at the end. But there it is, the first Freddy Krueger comic that I made. Also known as Blood Massacre #1. I didn't say this would be good by any means. I just switched to manual focus. Maybe that'll be better, because I saw that the camera was struggling quite a bit to keep up the focus. So this is the second comic I want to show you, and this starts off with a blank page because I think I intended to draw a cover, but I never got around to it. So this is another Freddy comic. This one may be even harder to see because I used thin lined paper for this one. You can kind of see through it. So it starts off with Freddy sleeping. Does Freddy even need to sleep? That doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense, but so, and you can see his bed and his little nightstand beside his bed has his hat and his glove. So at least he has a decency to take his hat and glove off when he goes to bed. This one, any accidents in his sleep, and you can see he's dreaming of a Care Bear, of course. I don't know what I had against Care Bears. So Freddy is having a dream, and this is the dream world, and he says, "Where am I?" And of course, there's a very crappily drawn rainbow behind him, and he doesn't have his hat and glove on. It's very important to take note of. Okay, and now, so wait a minute, did I miss something? No. So, all of a sudden, all these Care Bears show up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Care Bears. And they each have a different symbol. I don't know what that is, but it's a heart, a balloon. Looks like it's supposed to be a 4-leaf clover and a star. Anyway, Balloon Boy says, "You're on Care Bear turf now, Freddy." And 4-leaf clover says, "Yeah, there's no possible way you can beat us all." And then the Star Boy says, "Care Bears stare." So that's what the Care Bears would do on the show. They would have some power that would emanate from their chest. So they're all doing their Care Bear stare onto Freddy. And Freddy's not liking that one bit. He says, "No, stop, wait." If you're not able to follow this extremely complex plot, just leave a question in the comment section. I'll try to answer best I can. And then, so Freddy wakes up from this nightmare, and he says, "What a nightmare." And he takes his hat, and he puts it on. And he says, "But I know how to make it all better." And then he puts on his glove. I don't know why I drew this other hand so small. I guess it's supposed to be in the background. And then here he's like flicking the glove. I don't know what you call that, but. And then here he says, "Let's dream." That was definitely influenced by Al Bundy and Married with Children, because he would always say, "Let's rock." Which I sometimes think Al Bundy looks like Freddy Krueger in certain poses or certain facial expressions. But anyway, now things are going to get kind of hard to see because you might be able to notice already that on the following pages I used red ink to indicate blood, and it goes right through. So it's going to get really hard to tell what's going on from now on, I'm guessing. So Freddy's back in the dream world, and he says, "I'm back." And he's surrounded by Care Bears, and he says, "Eat shit, Care Bears." So it's the same cast of Care Bears that were there before. And this guy says, "There he is. Let's get him." Some amazing dialogue. So then Freddy takes his massive glove and with massive nails and just slices the entire Care Bear's arm right off. And he's like, "Ah." So that's the our boy, I guess I'll call him. And just blood dripping everywhere and pooling on the floor. Drip, 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 drip. And then, with another swipe, Freddy's glove just lops this Care Bear's head off. That's Balloon Boy, and there goes his all his blood, drip, 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 and he has like a bone sticking out there. So the last one, I don't think Freddy used his claw once, except for to rip through the backdrop. But now he already killed 2 Care Bears with his claw. I call it a claw, it's a glove, I don't know why I call it a claw. So here, there's Freddy's head there at the back of his head. And here there's a Care Bear lunging towards Freddy, and he looks pretty upset. Of course, he's seeing his broskies getting murdered. This is really hard to see because there's a lot of red ink on the next page, but so Freddy, all he does is he sticks one of his blades right through the Care Bear's forehead, and that pretty much takes care of him. But he's not done yet. He jumps up in the air. Wait, is this the same Care Bear? I don't know if this is the same one or a different one. I think it's a different one because his eyes are not X'd out yet and he has no blood. So he jumps in the air with this Care Bear. And he lands on the ground. And you can see the Care Bear just cracks in half, so I don't know, I guess it's a body slam of some kind. And then he sort of grabs his Care Bear, Starboy, with his foot, and he says, "Something to remember me by," which is a reference to an old movie, an old martial arts movie called King of the Kickboxers. Of course, I don't think anybody would know that. And then, bam, another death by glove. And this carrot just explodes into a bloody mess. Look at all that. His arm is here, his torso is here, his head and his rib cage. His other limbs are here. And of course, his blood is just all over the place. Drip, 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 blood, 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 blood. And then there's Freddy kind of spinning around, and looks like he has multiple claws, but he's just spinning really fast and decapitating any Care Bear that comes near him. That was kind of a reference to Final Fight when you have Hager's move. He does a special move, and he just kind of spins around and knocks everyone out around him. So there's definitely a high death toll in this one. I was kind of a messed up kid. So in this panel, there's a little Care Bear, and he punches Freddy in the leg or the knee or something, or in the shin, and he says, "Take that, Freddy." And he's all happy that he did that. And I was trying to figure out what the symbol on his chest was. I couldn't remember what I drew there, but then I realized, oh, that's supposed to be a flexing arm with a flap hanging down. So I guess he's like a wimpy bear. It's supposed to be a weak Care Bear. And he's like, I punched Freddy, and he's all proud of himself. And then boom, Freddy just knocks his head off. And there you can see he's not so happy anymore. And you see his teeth are flying all over the place. Hey, don't look at that page. You're gonna get a spoiler. That's the thrilling conclusion. But we're not there yet. But let's see how we get there. So this Care Bear approaches looking kind of evil, and of course he has a little knife. And you'll notice the symbol on his stomach is actually a knife. So I guess he's Stabby Bear or something. So there's Freddy, and the bear throws the knife at Freddy, and it misses, lands right before his feet. So Freddy grabs the knife and says, "You stupid effing Care Bear, you can't kill me with a knife." And he's like, "Uh-oh." Can you see that? Care Bear's like, "Uh-oh, I done messed up." And Freddy says, "But I can kill you." Because in the dream world, Freddy's pretty much invincible. Although the Care Bears there seem to work. And that's the thrilling conclusion. The knife just splits the Care Bear right in half. And there's just blood everywhere. Drip, 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 The end. That was comic number 2. Let's go for another one. By the way, if you're expecting them to get better over time, they're not. They're pretty much all bad. So again, there's another blank page at the front, because again, I was probably gonna draw a cover. So once again, it's Freddy versus the Care Bears. So looks like it starts off with Freddy. He's in a very bad spot. He's on the floor writhing in pain. And you have these 3 Care Bears doing their Care Bear stare. So this guy says, "Our Care Bear stare is killing Freddy." And Balloon Boy over here says, "You're not so tough." Big mistake. Balloon Boy, big mistake. So Freddy says, "Oh yeah, eat this." And let me tell you, the rest of this comic is just the true height of storytelling. You will not see better writing and artwork than what's coming up. Just a warning. Oh, it's not even Balloon Boy that he attacks, it's 4-leaf clover boy, I guess. So basically, an anvil, or I guess an anvil that is, drops on his head. It's like, and there he is. He's like, can you see that? He's like, "That didn't hurt," and he's all like deformed. deformed, his eyes like sideways. He has a big bump on his head. His teeth are falling out. So up here, Freddy says, "I'm not finished yet." And of course, a car drops out of the sky and falls on the Care Bear. But just before it lands, he's like, "Good night." And that's another Married with Children Al Bundy reference, because he would say that a lot. Not a lot, but under certain situations. So the car landed, crash, but now there's a safe falling, which is weird. You think the safe would come before the car, because the safe is more, well, a car is more heavy than a safe, I would think. I think you probably know where this is going, but, and then you see a bus fall onto the Care Bear, and there it is landed, it's all crushed. And then you see an airplane falling from the sky and just lands and just cracks open like a peanut or like an egg or something. Talk about overkill. And of course we have a battleship falling from the sky. How did a battleship get up there? I don't know, but it's Freddy. He can do whatever he wants. And lands on top of the mess. What do you think is next? Oh, wrong page. Sorry, it's kind of awkward to turn these pages. I should have taken the staple out first. So this cliff breaks off. Lands on top of the battleship, which is not even bigger than the battleship. I'm glad I realized that. A few cliffs are probably going to be bigger than a battleship. So then, of course, we're outer space here, and there's the Earth, and a massive planet falls on top of the Earth and crashes, just obliterates. That's it. Obliterates half of the Earth. Like one chunk goes flying off. And I guess what? That's supposed to be Saturn, I guess. So then there's the Earth, and then we have 3 more unnamed planets or asteroids or whatever they are. And they all smash into the Earth too. Well, whatever's left of Earth and Saturn. And behold, the inevitable result, scientific result of having a plane, a bus, a car, Saturn, and 3 planets fall on top of you. So that's supposed to be the Care Bear's face after all that. So there's his eye, there's his nose, there's his other eye with tears coming out. There's one of his ears, and his mouth with teeth falling out. And the Care Bear says, I'm okay. That didn't hurt. And get ready for the thrilling conclusion. There's his face again, and he looks kind of happy. Well, actually, that's his eye. That's his mouth. Looks like he's smiling a bit. And then here comes a leaf. It falls on him, and boom, he just blows up. So there's his head, one of his arms, his torso, a leg, another leg, and another arm. Boom. And I bet you didn't see that coming. But there it is. There's the conclusion of another thrilling Freddy comic. Now I just have a couple of standalone Freddy comics, meaning just like 1 or 2 pages. Yeah, just like 2 more left. Might as well get them done. I had way too much time on my hands when I was a kid. So I drew this one in pen, so it's a lot easier to see, thank goodness. So we have, it starts off with Freddy and Care Bear. Our boy, I guess. And he says, "I'm a Care Bear. I have to tell you something, Freddy. I love you." And he's handing Freddy an ice cream cone. And Freddy says, "You love me? Well, I have to tell you something too." Slice. I effing hate Care Bears. And you can see the Care Bear's face just rip right off, and his skull is still there with all blood dripping, drip, drip, drip. So I think I probably did this one before I did the other issues, because it seems like Freddy, or the Care Bear, is introducing himself to Freddy, and Freddy's declaring that he hates Care Bears, it looks like, for the first time. And that's it. That's the entire comic. But I have another one. The last one for today. This one's a little bit more elaborate. It's a little bit, more of a plot and more character development and all that stuff. So, you see a Care Bear, and Freddy, and the Care Bear's holding a football. Again, it's our boy. I guess that's the quintessential Care Bear. And our boy says, "Hey Freddy, let's play football. I will hold the ball, and you will kick it." Freddy's like, "Okay. Gee, I wonder where this is going." So Freddy winds up and gives him a massive battle-toad boot to the head. And there goes his head. Drip, 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 blood spurting everywhere, bones sticking out of his neck, and a nice little spot of blood on Freddy's bottom of his shoe. And Freddy says, "I told you I hate Care Bears." How many times does he have to kill the same Care Bear to get his point across? Well, that's all of the comics that I got out of the vault today. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you want to see more of that type of thing, let me know and I'll make more. Of course, I have a limited number of stuff. Like, I try to keep everything that I could from when I was younger, all the things I drew and stuff like that, but most of it's gone. Unfortunately, it kills me that I don't no longer have most of my artwork, but I still have a lot of stuff. So let me know if you want to see more. Some of it's better, most of it's not, but hopefully it'll be relaxing regardless. Alright, anyways, that's it for today. I'll see you next time, and until then,